So my coworker Joseph, who covers the Golden State Warriors, likes to give me a lot of flack for some of my intros. He even said on Sunday that I was burying the lead a little bit, which admittedly I was. And I am very well aware that my introductions can be very rambly and not get to the point until like 2 minutes in. We will not be doing that today because there's a lot to get into from the last 10 odd hours at Oracle Park, because today, of course, was Devers Day. Today, the San Francisco Giants not only introduced Rafael Devers as the newest member of their organization, but they played their first game with Rafael Devers, a 5-4 loss at the hands of the Cleveland Guardians. We will not be getting into the game except for some of the Devers parts, but we're going to focus more on some of the big picture things in regards to Rafael Devers. And obviously when the Giants acquired Devers from the Boston Red Sox on Sunday, and taking the Red Sox drama element out of things and just the way that it ended, the biggest question from my vantage point was, where's Rafael Devers going to play? He's obviously been a third baseman for the majority of his career, has not played the field yet, and it's here where we need to get into a lot of context in regards to how Devers' time with the Boston Red Sox ended. Now, in February, the Red Sox signed Alex Bregman to a 3-year, $120 million contract. Bregman obviously is a third baseman as well. He was a Gold Glover in 2024, and Devers said publicly that he did not want to move off third base. It was a position rather he's played for the entirety of his career. He's played 951 games to be exact. He's never played any other position in the minor leagues either, aside from designated hitter. But Devers eventually relented on what he said, and he transitioned to designated hitter from third base, which is the position that he has played the entirety of this year. Now, in May, Tristan Casas, the starting first baseman for the Boston Red Sox, I can't remember the exact injury, but he suffers a season-ending injury. So now the Red Sox have an opening at first base. Now, again, consider what had just happened between Devers and the Red Sox when they signed Bregman. The team requests that he plays first base. He publicly says no, and obviously I'm not covering the Red Sox on a day-to-day basis. I hope that's well known by now. But outside looking in, it just seemed, from reading and watching some of the videos, that it was kind of the tone of, you already asked me to do one thing, why are you asking me to do another thing? And again, outside looking in and reading up on the situation with Boston, it just seemed like that relationship soured to the point where a trade happened, of course, on Sunday, one of the most shocking trades, baseball trades in recent memory, obviously made an allusion to how that compared to the Luka trade. Now, the big question today, of course, was what position was he going to play? Was he going to play first? Was he going to DH? Was he going to play third in the time that Matt Chapman wasn't here? And we got a very simple answer. There was no dancing around the subject whatsoever. The way that Devers quoted it was, regarding his meeting with President of Baseball Operations Buster Posey and manager Bob Melvin, they're the men in charge. I'm here to play wherever they want. So a very clear departure from, again, how things in Boston ended. And Devers isn't going to play first base right away, as dramatic as it would be for him to play first base when the Boston Red Sox come to town this weekend, which crazy timing that's happening, but it may not be that fast. And when Devers was asked post-game whether it'd be that fast, he said, I don't know. And manager Bob Melvin said that the Giants want to ensure that he's comfortable before having him play first base because, again, this is a position that Devers has never played in the majors or minors. He has exclusively been a third baseman. So the other element to get into, and he also took grounders before the game alongside Dominic Smith as well. The other element of this, of course, is third base. The Giants said that they plan to use Devers exclusively as a first baseman / DH, and when talking with manager Bob Melvin before the game, he said that they have no plans whatsoever to have Devers play third base with Matt Chapman on the injured list. And as far as maximizing your personnel, that is a decision that makes sense because Casey Schmidt is an above-average defender at third base, and you would have Rafael Devers, just because it's a position he played there. If you inserted him at third base, he's been worth negative 62 defensive runs saved over the course of his career, has rated out as a net negative defender despite all the experience that he does have. And when Melvin was asked even further if there was any situation potentially matchup based that would warrant having Devers at first, Melvin said straight up he's not going to play third base. I think the language that he used was they didn't want him to play third base, to reacclimate himself to third base, only to go over to first base once Chapman returns. So for the time being, it seems that Devers is going to be a first baseman / DH, but looking at a more macro perspective, it seems that the majority of his tenure, unless something happens personnel-wise that we can't anticipate, it seems that going forward, Devers is going to be a first baseman / designated hitter. The exact allocation of time, that's yet to be seen. And that leads into another aspect of all of this, which is the Wilmer Flores piece. And I know for someone that may not be following the Giants on a day-to-day basis, if I just said, yeah, the Giants are going to have to figure out what to do with Wilmer Flores, with Devers here, I know that might sound a bit asinine considering how much of a better career Devers has had than Flores, especially when you look at the contrast of the numbers. But Flores has, and I think I mentioned this on Sunday, Flores has been an integral part of this team. He leads the team with 51 RBIs entering play. His OPS, I think it's 1,012, was the best of any player on the Giants. He's been responsible for 2 walk-offs, one being the single against the Seattle Mariners, the other being that incredible walk-off walk that he drew against the Athletics' Mason Miller. So Wilmer Flores has been an integral part of this team's offense, and that's especially important given how, as we've talked about a lot, this team isn't exactly an offensive juggernaut, especially with that stretch that they had in the middle of May. And Flores' playing time is going to take a little bit of a hit. He is going to start at first base tomorrow. And Melvin said that there's going to be days when Devers is at first base and Flores is DHing. I would imagine that there's also going to be some days vice versa, where Flores is at first base and Devers is DHing. I would imagine that there's some configurations there with Dominic Smith as well, who entered play with, I think, was a 919 OPS. So they have options as far as first baseman versus designated hitter. And I think what Melvin said is Flores is probably going to be impacted a little bit, but Melvin also mentioned that this is going to take a little bit off of Flores' plate. He has played a lot this season, and it'll also give the Giants the opportunity, based on who's starting or not. Like, say, for example, Flores is starting at DH, Devers is at first. Now you have Dominic Smith on the bench, and that's a very good bat to have off a bench in a late-game situation. Or, say, we have Smith at first base and Devers at DH, same thing. Now you have a situation like tonight. Flores didn't start tonight, but Melvin was able to bring him in a late-game situation, and Flores collected a hit off the bench. So it makes the Giants deeper. It obviously makes the Giants better, and it gives them some options late in ball games that they just really haven't had as far as a late game bat that could potentially do some damage. And something that stuck out from the press conference today is Melvin said something to the effect of, because he played third, he should have a relatively easy transition going to first. But when Stephen Vogt was asked about it, Vogt, of course, was a player under Melvin and played a bit of first base. Vogt did say that, first base, it's extremely difficult position in and of itself. There's a lot of nuance that comes with the position. I'm not remembering his quote, but I kind of remembered the Moneyball quote, the tell 'em wash. It's incredibly hard. I was kind of reminded of that a little bit as well. There's also, when we're looking long-term, specifically to 2026, there's also the Bryce Eldridge part of things. If we just look at who's under contract for next year, Flores is set to become a free agent. Dominic Smith at the end of this season would become a free agent as well. They're both under expiring contracts, I believe, or just set to become free agents. That leaves the Giants with an opening at first base, and that leaves the Giants with an opening at designated hitter. And so now it's the question of, if you're looking really long-term, who's that position going to go to? Is it going to be Eldridge, who's a year and a half into learning the first base position after never playing it his entire life, or are you going to give it to Devers, who by the time 2026 rolls around is going to have 3/4 to half a season of experience at first base? And maybe it depends on who's the better defender at this position. If you had to ask me who's the better defender of the two at first base, I could not tell you, especially given some of the struggles that Eldridge has had defensively, even though, in talking to some people in the organization, they have said that he's getting better. Like, maybe, there's a situation where Devers is just a natural at first base, and then the Giants can insert Eldridge at designated hitter, or maybe Eldridge continues to make strides at first base. Again, we really don't know the answer to this question, and this is going to be a 2026 spring break or spring training question. But Buster Posey said during today's press conference that Eldridge is going to continue developing as a first baseman. We talked a lot about his promotion from AA Richmond to AAA Sacramento. He did homer today, although generally speaking, he has been struggling with Sacramento to start the season. I think his batting average entering play was 143. And the other big picture piece with all of this is the fact that Devers is slated to make roughly, depending on how the math shakes out, $250 million, which makes him the highest paid player in the history of the Giants. Didn't technically sign the contract. I think that still technically goes to Adames in his 187 contract, but he's now the highest paid player in the history of the Giants, and the Giants now have 4 position players, that being Devers, Adames, Matt Chapman, and Jung-Hoo Lee, all of whom have 9-figure contracts. I don't know exactly what, it's not quite $1 billion, but I think maybe $750 million, somewhere in that range. It's a lot of money. Insert the "good Lord, that's a lot of money," that money video. But this is a lot of money locked up for 4 players, and that doesn't even include Robbie Ray. That doesn't even include Logan Webb, and you also have the fact that Camilo Duvall is going to be, I don't think he's a free agent. He's going to be, the next year of arbitration after that. But Tyler Rogers, that's going to be the one who's going to be a free agent after this year. And so there's going to be some decisions to make on that front. But when Chairman Greg Johnson was asked about the fact that they have a lot of these long-term commitments, his response, and again, I don't remember it verbatim, is that they do have to be cognizant of, yes, this is a lot of money for this core group of guys, but it was too good of an opportunity to pass up. And I think the way that he said it was, if we talk about pitches, this one was a bit of a hanging slider. Now, as far as the actual game itself, again, I'm not going to focus on the minutia of today's game because I know this video will be going long enough. But in his second plate appearance, Devers rips a 114-mile-an-hour double into Triple's alley. I know maybe a bit of a misnomer there for this situation, but an RBI double in his second plate appearance as a Giant at 111.4. That makes it I think it's like tied for the 6th hardest hit ball by a Giant this season. So right away showing some of the talent, some of the ability that he has, and then in the bottom of the 9th inning as well, with the Giants trailing by a run, facing Emmanuel Clase, one of the best relievers in baseball, bloops a single into left field, and the Giants are able to eventually load the bases in the bottom of the 9th inning, but ultimately unable to push across the tying run. So the Giants are 0-for-1 in the Rafael Devers era, but about, I think, 89 more games in the regular season. So a lot of baseball left for Rafael Devers to play in his first season as a San Francisco Giant, and you've heard me talk enough, so let's hear a little bit from Rafael Devers following today's loss.
How did that reception feel from the fans every single moment when you stepped in the batter's box before the game?
Primer turno se sintió un poco nervioso y emocionante a la vez por la ovación de los fanáticos. Me sentí nervioso, pero a la vez contento porque me dieron una bienvenida buena.
Well, my first at bat, obviously, I was a little bit nervous because of the ovation, right? I wasn't expecting that, but you know what? Afterwards, I got a little bit comfortable, and it was great to see the fans welcoming me that way.
How different did it feel in a different uniform?
Siempre había tenido un solo uniforme, se siente weird, pero ya estamos aquí, me siento como en casa y ya cambié la página, ya es un equipo que pertenece a otra organización.
Well, yeah, it feels weird having a different uniform, but you know what? I'll get used to it. I already turned the page, and now I'm here, and I'm just going to enjoy the moment.
I'm sure there was some nerves, heading into the game. How much of a weight is it off your shoulder to get some 2 hits right away, especially the double in your second at bat?
No, emocionante. Quisiera que pudiéramos ganar el partido, no se pudo hoy, pero mañana es otro día y van a venir días mejores con Dios mediante, y voy a tratar de dar lo mejor de mí para tratar de ganar todos los juegos que pueda.
That was really good, but we didn't win the game. But we'll be here tomorrow, and I am sure that there will be better days where we're going to have more wins.
What did you think of the whole day, just getting welcomed by your teammates and by the fans?
Era mucho, pero ya creo que me siento un poco más relajado. Fue mucho hoy y ayer, pero ya hoy me siento fuerte y positivo para tratar de venir todos los días positivo aquí y ganar el juego.
I was a little bit overwhelmed, but I'm a little bit more relaxed now. Tomorrow will be better, and I just want to stay positive and just enjoy the moment.
Can you picture yourself playing baseball here in October?
Uf, claro, mira, no sé cómo se sentiría, nunca lo he hecho aquí, pero pienso que se sentiría bastante cómodo y bien por los fanáticos que son, siempre vienen aquí.
I never been here when there's been baseball in October, but seeing what I saw today with the fans, I think it's going to be really excited and just looking forward to seeing that they come.
Okay, what are your initial impressions of the ballpark, how the ballpark will play, where the ball might travel? I know it's just one day of BP and a couple of bats.
Como lo dije ahorita, la misma pelota, si yo le conecto bien a una pelota, sé que se va a ir por donde sea, no tengo miedo de eso, de que el estadio es diferente al otro, pero si yo le doy a la bola, sé que se va a ir por donde sea.
Like I said during the press conference, it's the same baseball. I just feel that if I make good contact on the baseball, I think it's going to go. I really don't pay attention to the different dimensions of the ballpark.
Got to meet a lot of people today, including the mayor. What was that like to meet the mayor of San Francisco today?
¿Cómo te sentiste? Conociste muchas personas de San Francisco, pero más bien el alcalde de San Francisco. ¿Cómo te sientes?
Emocionado porque me dieron la bienvenida bastante cómoda, bastante bien. Conocí bastantes personas que nunca la había visto, como el mismo Barribón, nunca lo había visto personalmente, Boteposi tampoco, y son gente que fueron leyendas en el béisbol y me siento como, wow, lo vi por primera vez.
Well, I mean, it was great. Meeting the mayor was great. I mean, I met a lot of people, but, I met Barry Bonds. I had never seen him in person. I met Buster. I had never met him in person. And, these are two baseball legends that I was just, wow, in meeting.
Did Barry say did he give you any special tips?
No he hablado, no tengo la confianza todavía para ir a preguntar cosas sobre pateo, pero creo que eso va a venir pronto con Dios mediante.
No, I haven't had the courage to talk to him. I really don't feel comfortable, but I know that eventually I will go out there and talk to him.
You started taking grounders at first base before the game. What do you think will be the most challenging part of learning to play that position?
Aprender a jugarla.
To learn to play it.
You mentioned Barry Bonds and Buster Posey, and San Francisco has so many legendary players. What do you hope your impact in your time, what do you think your legacy will be as a San Francisco Giant?
Mencionaste a Barry Bonds, mencionaste a Barry, obviamente son leyendas. ¿Cuál crees tú que va a ser tu impacto, tu legado cuando termines tus 8 temporadas aquí?
Creo como ellos, quiero seguir los mismos pasos con Dios mediante y vengo aquí a dar lo mejor de mí y si el talento que tengo, creo que cuando me retire voy a estar por ahí cerca.
I hope to accomplish the same thing that those two players did. I think I have enough talent to do it. So yeah, I do hope that when my time is done here in San Francisco, I have the same accolades that they have.
Could you hear when you're at the plate, your name being called, the chants, the electricity? You feel that at the plate when you're up there, or are you too much in the zone?
Cuando estabas bateando, ¿escuchaste que los fanáticos estaban coreando tu nombre o estabas simplemente enfocado en el turno al bate?
Emocionado, la primera vez no escuchaba nada, sino la emoción de estar aquí, que como la bulla me sentía tan como para dar un palo, pero es la presión y contento porque me hicieron buena ovación.
I mean, very, very excited, very nervous at the same time. I mean, I was really hoping to just hit one out of the ballpark, but, overall I was very happy with the ovation that I got.
Were you thinking triple at all on that ball?
No.
No.
Double.